From Grove Street FM, this is Grove Street Public Access. We'd like to remind our listeners that the perspectives and opinions shared here are those of the individual contributors and do not necessarily represent the views of Grove Street FM. At the heart of our mission is the promotion of diverse voices and open dialogue, but the accountability for each episode's content lies with its creators. Thanks for choosing Grove Street FM. And now, let's dive into this edition of Grove Street Public Access.
Good afternoon. I am Susan Martin, and I'm the Executive Director with Bauer Center for the Arts here in Bedford, Virginia. And today we want to talk a little bit about Behind the Bauer and the importance of arts and culture in your community. I brought a few guests with me to have a nice little discussion and want to introduce them today. So we have Amy Quisenberry with us, and she's our communications coordinator actually at Bauer Center, but she's also, many may not know, a singer and bass player with Christian Q and the Groove. And we also have two studio artists who have studios at Bauer Center for the Arts. And they are Perry Mason, and she's a watercolor artist, and she's also a Bauer instructor and a member of our board of directors. And then we also have Suzanne Paddock with us as well, and she's an oil artist, also a Bauer volunteer, and also a Bauer instructor, has done some teaching with Bauer Center for the Arts as well. So I'm really happy to have them here with us today. We really just wanted to share a little bit about the importance of arts and culture in the community, and hopefully make you stop and say, I didn't realize that, or I didn't know, how important the arts were to everyone in our community and what it can do for you. I want to kind of just start out the conversation a little bit about arts and culture and what it can do for the community, and some things that I recently read through, guys, that I wanted to share with you and hopefully open up the discussion, was related to the economic impact of arts and culture can have on our community, and the fact that some of our community members may not be aware that the Bauer Center for the Arts is a community arts and cultural center. We focus on the performing and the visual arts, and we offer a lot of different opportunities for our community members locally, and even guests and visitors and tourists to our community to come in and take advantage of those opportunities that we'll mention a few of towards the end of our show today. But
yeah, we've got a lot to offer.
We really do. We could probably fill a full 20 minutes just talking about all the things we have to offer at the Bauer Center. But we won't make it a commercial just about Bauer Center. But we do want people to be aware of the fact that arts and culture can build pride in your community. It does help to drive commerce to other local businesses. Thinking about performing arts, we do offer live performances at the Bauer Center for the Arts. And when people attend those types of performances or any of our events, they often make it, an evening outing. So they can go out and dine at a local restaurant. They might actually do some shopping beforehand. So some opportunities are available throughout the community for arts and culture to support other businesses in our community. And then some other things too related to that is that arts just improves your overall well-being. Being creative, can be a very, inspiring and healthy experience for the individual. And that's kind of where I want to open up the conversation to our other guests here and talk a little bit about what your thoughts are on that, and how, just being creative. And I always say that when you come to the Bauer Center for the Arts, if you want to get involved in any way, shape, or form in the arts, there is no experience necessary. So what are some of your all's thoughts on how the community can be more involved in the arts?
I think that's a great way to put it, is that if you want to come and you want to be involved, or you want to take part in a class or a program or event, there's no experience necessary. It doesn't take much, formal experience to volunteer or to participate in a class, to help with a camp, or, come to a musical event. And I think that's one of the things that's a lot of fun. You might get a lot of people involved that aren't always involved in the arts or don't have a lot of history with it.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with all that. when I teach a class, a lot of people go, I can't draw a straight, a stick. And I'm like, and I always tell them, I was like, everyone can be creative. You just need the opportunity to do it. And some, a little instruction doesn't, hurt either. And I've always said that creativity, if without creativity, you don't have critical thinking. You have to be able to be creative to make a lot of decisions and to be innovative, which kind of also translates to economics, because where do the inventors, how were they able to invent things? They had to be creative first. So I mean, the arts are very important, and plus they're fun. I mean, that's a win-win.
It's funny that you said that about innovative. The study that I was recently reading, which is from what's called the Americans for the Arts, and that's a national organization that does a lot of research. They actually talk about how arts spark creativity and innovation, and that creativity is one of the top 5 applied skills sought by business leaders today. And so that when they are hiring individuals for any job, that 72% of them said that creativity is of highest importance when they're interviewing or looking for an individual for a job. So I think that's interesting in talking about that, how, that it applies in so many different ways.
And many different facets, too. It doesn't matter what job it is, whether you're in the creative field or like a numbers guy. You have to have, you're right, you have to have that innovation. It's got to be sparked from somewhere.
Right. Yeah. It's a soft skill. It's something that everybody should have in some way, shape, or form. And a lot of people don't think that they're creative, but when you think about every day what you do, I like to tell people, they all say, oh, well, you work for a nonprofit arts and cultural organization. Are you an artist? And no, by trade and by training, I am not. But I do think of myself as a creative person in other aspects. And I like to tell people that when I get a phone call, you can come in and look at my desk, or if I'm at home, I doodle while people are talking to me. Yes, I'm a doodler. And if I have a notepad that has writing or something on it, I color it in. And I keep colored markers on my desk at all time because I like to write in my calendar in different colors. It's just, so there's little things that people probably don't realize that they do on a daily basis that can be considered their creativity. Yeah.
They're tiny little outlets,
Exactly.
Yeah, you don't realize it, but even just that little doodling in your calendar or organizing it by color, it's your kind of little happy space, I think.
Yeah. And one of the things too that I wanted to mention today was a little bit about what we're calling Behind the Bower. And it's kind of, what is your why? Why do you not only support the Bower Center for the Arts or participate in activities at the arts, but just what is your why behind arts and creativity? And I'm going to throw that one over to Suzanne and see what her...
Quiet. She was so excited to do
so
that
quiet.
this morning,
I know.
So my why. My why tends to be a little bit different or left field. I definitely use my creativity for escapism, which I don't know if that is good or bad, but for me, I love to come to the studio at Bower. I love the camaraderie. I love arguing with my studio mate Perry. I love,
and she does.
We are oil and water for a reason, and it's wonderful because that push and pull of ideas, I think it works for both of us as far as actually making the art. And I love meeting new people. I like talking with Amy and Lauren and Dottie and Susan, and just hearing about what's going to happen and what we're doing, but the actual creativity part, I really like just going into that space and like just closing out the rest of the world, which I can do at Bower in my little studio, and just make stuff. And for me, that's a way of I guess kind of refocusing. Sometimes if I need to think about something, if I go and paint in the back of my head, it's kind of spooling, and then when I'm done, I have the answers, or I have a little bit more focus or something. It's very cathartic, I guess. So I really enjoy that. And it's very important. Like if I don't make art, I get really cranky and angry and just really out of sorts.
Mhm.
And worse than being hangry, I mean, it's it's
We have to come up with a term for that.
really.
it's a situation, and I need to go make art, and then it just creates a harmony. And I think that goes back to what you guys were talking about, how the arts are really important in our community, and it just kind of cycles back around to that it's not always an obvious reason, but it can be a very personal reason too.
Yeah, that's so true. And I love how you talked about what it does for you. And I think it's important for anybody in our community to realize that we hope that we're providing those opportunities at the Bauer Center, and that when they come and participate, whether it be in a class or a workshop, attend a live performance, a reading, anything like that it is an opportunity for them to kind of escape the day to day and just enjoy, whether they're actively participating or they're there to, listen and enjoy. We hope that those opportunities are giving them that opportunity to feel that joy. There's so obviously many things going on in our world today that just that little bit of time, a little bit of escapism to come in and enjoy the arts is what we're trying to provide.
I've even had a few people come in just visiting, just to browse the galleries, and when they leave, they're like, "This was great. It was so quiet. There was jazz music playing, and it was nice just to kind of like take my lunch break and like get away from the hectic hustle and bustle of the office or life." And even that little visit is sometimes a nice escape for some people.
We had a guest in our studio one time, and I don't remember exactly where the conversation was going, but he was looking at our work and just asking questions and stuff. And I had said, art, visual art, well, any arts really is like a playground for the mind. And I think that really is true in a way. There's a lot of work and technical and things like that, but you need play. You need play.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that. I was recently looking through some information, just things that I keep. When folks come in and visit and they say something nice about their visit, I tend to write it down and save it, just because, I want to be able to revisit those. And I was revisiting those recently, and we had an individual again that came in and was just there to visit the gallery spaces and see all the studio artists. And she's then made a comment, and she said that for me, visiting the Bauer Center, it was like this wonderful warm piece of cake with the best gooey icing on top. I mean, it was just, that was her description, that it was just.
Can we put that on the website?
Yes,
I love
yes.
that.
And I asked her, I said, can I save that? Because that might come up somewhere in something someday. But
Bauer is delicious.
Yeah.
A slice of the art.
But it was just so nice, because sometimes you're just having one of those days and you're just like, I need to revisit. One is, what is our why? Why is the Bauer Center for the Arts in existence? What are we doing for the community, and how are we inspiring and connecting, all those wonderful things? And so I like to revisit things that people have said, and I try to save those. It's nice to.
It's a good idea.
Yeah. But anyway, so we're kind of talking just a little bit about what we feel like, or what we believe that the arts can do for the individuals. I do want to kind of mention a few things that we do have coming up, and also let my other guest speakers here say a few comments. We're extremely busy for the holiday season, which we really look forward to. So there are lots of opportunities to get involved at the Bauer Center, whether you want to partake in a class. We have some wonderful workshops coming up that are actually ornament making workshops. One of them is clay related, and the other one is it needlepoint or
needle felting?
Needle felting, yes. So if you just want to do something, the clay workshop is a 2-day workshop, because obviously you have to fire and glaze your pieces. but the needle felting is a one day, one after evening. They're not the full day. They're a couple of hours each. Those are just great opportunities to come in and have fun. And as we mentioned, connections are so important. So you get to meet other people, have an enjoyable time, and then walk away with something that you've created that you can either keep for yourself or give as a gift. So those are coming up, and then in November and December. And then we have some other classes that take place, and they are on a semester basis. Some of them are already in process that have already started. You can check our website at bowercenter.org for those type of things if you're interested in experiencing something else related to clay and pottery. And we actually have an adult jazz dance class that's going to start after
I
the
love
first of
that.
the year. So I'm really excited to see if we can get some adults out in the evenings just to have fun. It's not structured. She just wants to get you out, get you moving, and have some fun together.
No one's worried about your
Nobody's
technique
worried
as
about
long
your
as you're having
technique.
fun.
Just want you to have fun. And then we have some concerts and performances coming up. We're really excited. We have a group, an a cappella group in our community. Many people know of the Smith Mountain Lake Harmoniers. They actually use our space for their rehearsal once a week. And they do typically 2 performances every year in November. And we're excited this year that they've added Bower Center as one of their performing arts spaces, and they're going to do a matinee. They typically do 2 evening performances at other locations. And so they've added Bower Center this year, and they're going to do a matinee on November the 11th at the Bower Center. And it's actually a fundraiser that portion of the proceeds are going to go back to the Bower Center, and we're very appreciative of that. And then we have New Standard Bluegrass coming in November, ladies, and they are a sellout crowd for us. So that's a big one. We love working with them. Those gentlemen that are members of that band are from around the region. They've been performing with each other since college days, and they don't perform that often throughout the year. They do some festivals and things like that, but we're one of the few places that they do an actual live concert. So that's always a sellout crowd for us, and that comes up on November the 18th.
And
then,
they are there to perform. They have some great energy, and they're so fun.
Yeah.
They're just a bunch of fun guys.
Yeah,
for
they
sure.
really are. So it's not exactly like that, but they're kind of like almost beyond the music. They tell such great stories, and they tell meaning and stories behind all their songs, and they share funny things that have happened to them as the band members. And I'm going to age myself, ladies, but it reminds me of when I was growing up, the days I used to sit with my grandparents and watch Hee Haw.
Oh, yeah.
I knew you were going to say
Yes.
that.
It's like a variety show because they tell jokes and they tease each other, and it's just so entertaining. And the music is amazing, obviously, and the performing is out of this world. So I recommend, if anybody's interested, get your tickets now because they are already selling fast. Our space is limited to about 140 guests, so it is a nice intimate performance space, and it's a sellout crowd for us. We have them every year and we love them. And we end the year this year with John Hardy, and he's a one-man play, and he does A Christmas Carol, the Dickens version, and he performs every person.
I saw that last year. I was like, how in the world?
It's amazing, isn't it?
I haven't seen this.
Yeah.
I'm very excited to
so
see how
it's actually
this
been
works.
2 years since we had him. So
okay.
yeah. And so he also does the dialect and the, because it's the Dickens version. And yeah, so he moves around the stage. He does a little bit of light, not really costume changes. He has a few things that, he uses.
Just enough.
Enough so he's changing, who he is. But it's just it's amazing. It's mesmerizing. I mean, folks were just glued to the performance the entire time, which was really great.
Can you imagine rehearsing that at home and your neighbors being like, "What is this guy doing?"
I actually asked him because he does other performances. He actually writes his own plays, and he came back and did his own play for us last year. And some people, he does Q&A afterwards, and he says he does a lot of rehearsing in the mirror. So
Oh yeah,
Okay.
that's what I was wondering.
Yeah. So anything exciting as we wrap up that you guys think we need to mention that we may not have mentioned today?
Definitely our Mistletoe Makers Market.
yeah.
That one
Absolutely.
has a lot of excitement behind it right now, and we've just secured all of our vendors for it. So that is going to be a really fun event for sure.
Yeah, we love doing that. We actually host that on Small Business Saturday, which is November 25th, the Saturday after Thanksgiving, because our artists are small business owners, and we want to recognize that as well. So all of our vendors are artisans and crafters, I guess you could say. So all of their product had to be handmade or hand created. It could be repurposed, so they could have recycled something and repurposed it into something new. But we have 25 plus vendors coming that will be there for that. And it's there is a $2 entry fee for adults. Children 12 and under are free. However, if you bring art supplies to donate to what we call our free little art gallery, which is available outside the Bauer Center, and you can stop in and get free art supplies and activities for kids. If you donate to that, then your admission is free. So bring an art supply or supplies to go towards the free little art gallery, and then you don't have to pay the $2 admission. But all the funds that we raise will go back to supporting that program. So check all that out on our website at bowercenter.org. Feel free to stop in. Gallery admission is always free. We're open 11 to 3, Tuesday through Saturday. Staff is available. We'll give you private tours if you'd like, tell you a little bit more about the history of the building, the Bauer Center itself. We've been around for about 17 years, and we'd love to have you come and check us out.
Thank you for joining us today on Grove Street Public Access, a production of Grove Street FM. If you have insights, stories, or perspectives you'd like to share with our audience, we invite you to reach out and participate. This program thrives on community involvement. Please remember that Grove Street Public Access is made possible by the support of our advertisers and dedicated listeners like you. We greatly appreciate you tuning in and lending your ears to our discussions. Until next time, this has been Grove Street Public Access.